We are the wise and wicked crones. Got no time for lies, no time for casting stones. Wise and wicked, no time for fears or prevarications. Wise and wicked, gonna rise among the nations. Crones are gonna spread our wisdom around the nations. We are the wise and wicked crones. Wise and wicked crones.
Hello.
Hello.
Or I should say good evening. We are
Yes.
recording a little bit later. Yes, we are.
Yes, we usually record during the day, so we'll see how this all works out with light and with, internet speed and all that fun stuff.
Yep. One of the things I have to say, though, is I always love when the light changes, because in July, though, to me, light is very hot and white. And then the quality of light, particularly during the day in August, changes. It has like wonderful golden glow behind it. So I love August sunlight. And even though the days are a little bit shorter, I still like the evenings too. It's just that wonderful warm light that I like so much.
I'm going to talk about light after we just do our little intro thingy, because I want to add in on that. So,
And I wanted to say, yes, that this episode is being recorded on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee people. And my name is Leea Nutson. I am, and I have to read this, I am a warrior, a warrior, a widow, a political wonk, a rabbit knitter, a knitter. Sorry, did I say knitter? Oh my God. Oh my God.
I hope that wasn't Freudian.
Okay. A workout enthusiast, a grandmother of two, a dog lover, and a drinker of a variety of assortment of wine these days.
Oh, no, yeah. And I'm Peggy Sample, also known as Margarett in some circles. And oh gosh, I'm a singer, I'm a mom, I'm a dancer, I'm a writer, I'm a healer. I do yoga, I love to hike, I love to read, I love to write, I love to talk with friends, and that's enough about that for today. We have a mission statement, and our mission statement, I'm going to read, is our mission is to bring you thought-provoking, interesting, and often humorous wisdom that will enhance your life and enlighten your spirit. Nothing is sacred. This is a frank look at life and an open space for discussion. We welcome you into our worlds, and part of the reason we are Wise and Wicked Crones is between us. We have over a century of learning and experiences. So
Indeed, we do. Indeed, we are wise and wicked. And I just wanted to say to everybody that the opinions expressed in this episode are our own. You may disagree with what you hear, and that's fine. Feel free to disregard what we say and move on to the next. And we wish you the best of life, love, and happiness.
yes, this podcast is about education and entertainment.
Exactly.
So light, I just want to say I was up in Manitoulin Island on the weekend, and it's when we're recording this, it's August, and it was Perseid time, the meteor shower.
Oh, yes.
And it was so cloudy and rainy but it cleared up the last night we were there. And even though I was really tired, I really wanted to go out and just check the stars, and there they were. And I was looking, and there was one of those amazing shooting stars where it's white and it goes and the tail is all behind it right across the sky. And I was like, whoa, big gift. And then there were northern lights.
Oh, no.
And there were northern lights that
Wow.
were glowing and glowing and glowing. And then, you can take your camera, and when you take a picture, you can see them better, right? But they were glowing and glowing and glowing, and you could see like a little bit of tint of green. And then we could see pink with our eyes, with our naked eyes. And my friend who grew up on Manitoulin said she's never seen pink northern lights with her naked eye before.
That is amazing. I have never seen the Northern Lights. I have seen a shooting star. I've actually seen a comet, or a meteorite or something, like I can't remember what it was, but I have never seen the Northern Lights, and that's definitely on my bucket list to see them. So
Well, it was incredible. So when you were talking about lights, I was like, oh, I'm going to share this one. Yeah.
Oh, it's like we're of one mind, Peggy. We're of one mind.
Well, and you know, I have to tell you, Leah, my choir had an event last week, and one of the women in choir is one of our subscribers, and she said, it made my heart full. She said, I love watching your podcasts because it's like the two of you are there having a conversation, and I'm right there in the same room being the third person.
Excellent. Oh, I
Isn't
love
that
that.
like the best compliment?
That is the best compliment. And at
Yeah.
some point in time, we'll probably be doing some kind of a live virtual event. Stay tuned.
Yes, that is possible.
Okay. All right. And I think you are pulling an oracle card.
I am going to pull an oracle card. Before I do, we will tell you that our topic for discussion this evening is circles, not the geometry kind, the circles of people. Okay, so a card to give us a little insight for today's one jump. Oh, okay, two jumped. Two.
Oh, and they're circles.
So two. We have one of them is the Two of Wands, which is about the grandmother dreaming of the granddaughter, dreaming of the grandmother. And it is about the balance and the connection between women and the generations of women, and also that creative, spiritual, passionate energy in balance. So that's kind of lovely. And then the Chariot. And Leah, if there were a card in this deck that would remind me of you, it would be the Chariot. Because,
Really?
yeah, because see, here's the woman, and she is riding in her chariot, but she knows how to drive so well, she doesn't even need to hold the reins. She has seven sisters over top connecting us with spirit and the stars, right? Well, or
Yep.
Pleiades, not per se, it's Pleiades. And then you've got the tree of knowledge. And then you see she is carrying a battle axe. And the battle axe can either be used to chop off someone's head. See the head on the cart there? If they are threatening her family or loved ones, or it can simply be used to cut the pomegranate in half to make a snack. So, and definitely a warrior, and it definitely talks about achievement and on the physical plane. And circles are on the physical plane, although they connect with the other levels as well. So
Indeed, they do. So we thought this was a really important topic because one of the things we are, sorry, I keep pushing on my glasses. If you know my history with glasses, I can't get a pair that actually fits me properly. I don't know why. So I apologize. I noticed in the last video, I was constantly pushing them up. Okay, so circles. So when it comes to life, aging, elderhood, it's important to have a very balanced life. Okay, and I'm sure all of you already know that. So, but one of the things we really wanted to think about was circles. How many circles do you have? It is really important to pay attention to the circles that are in your life and to cultivate them, especially as you get older, because we tend to get, I don't know if we tend to get lazier or tired or whatever, but we often find that these circles start to shrink. So, you know, when you're busy working and you're raising children, perhaps, it's given that you have circles. You know, you've got family, children's friends, families, that type of thing, extended family, your spouse, if you have one, they have a circle. You got all these kinds of circles.
if you're lucky, I'm going to interrupt you because when I was in that age range, I moved a lot, and it was really, really difficult. The best was when I lived back for 2 years in Ottawa, which is my hometown, where I was able to reconnect with my school friends and also with my theater friends who also were kind of in the same phase and having little kids too. But then when I moved to Peterborough, worked really hard and was very lucky that a couple of the other women creators in that community went, oh, that poor woman. And we created a circle of women artists, many of whom had children. So I had that circle. Then we moved again, and it was really hard to find a circle in a small town where everyone had grown up together, even though I had some wonderful neighbors. But the circle was hard to find, and I didn't have family. So like, yes, it's best when you actually can grow along with your circles, but then you also have to keep creating new ones, right? I think you were heading there.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where I was heading, because that does change. As time passes, your circles will naturally change. And if you haven't been paying attention, you might find that your circles have dwindled. So, for example, one of the things that I do is that I talk about being a political wonk is that I volunteer very heavily in politics. And it was my idea. My kids think it was Bob's idea to get us involved. And I'm reading notes here just to make sure I don't forget anything and get it down really concisely. But I really wanted, it was always on my bucket list to volunteer in a political campaign. So it was my idea to get Bob and I involved in politics. And that was over, well, I would say about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. And my work was starting to wind down a bit, and I figured it was a really good time. And I wanted to ensure that we were going to have a larger circle of friends, because sometimes what happens as couples age, the circles start to shrink. Again, if you pay attention, it doesn't always happen. We're just talking tendencies here. Yeah. And I also want to hang out with smart people. That was the other reason. And I figured that anybody who was seriously involved in politics must have a level of intelligence.
Really? You really think so?
Well, volunteers, yes, they do. But I also wanted to hang out with like-minded people. And it really proved to be, first of all, it was amazing because I did get heavily involved and learn really how grassroots being involved in politics can be. And people think that they can't make a change. And I'm not going to talk about that today, or maybe never even. But anyways, it was life-changing. But I had no idea how important it was going to be, because when Bob passed away, that circle that I had created amongst my political friends they embraced me. And I mean, yes, my family and friends did, but they embraced me in a way that I can't even begin to describe, and made sure that I was really protected the first couple of years after he passed. So I'm forever in debt to those people, because it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So that group of people was really, truly wonderful, caring, and nurturing to me.
It's really interesting, right? How when you sort of find the like-minded, when I moved here to the Niagara region, one of the things I was reading the weekly local paper, and I was going, oh, there's a seniors choir. I only have 10 more years, or whatever it was, 10 or 13 years, and I'll be old enough to join it. And I was like, okay, well, that's something to look forward to. And then I found that Women Chant, shout out for Women Chant, which is a women's choir, social justice, equality, environmental, like that this choir was rehearsing just down the road, like, well, half an hour down the road, but I live in the country, so everything is a drive. And it was a choir I had actually been in for a year back in the 90s.
Wow.
Until life got crazy and I lost track of where they were. And anyway, so I went early. And when I got, they practice in a church. We practice in a church now. And when I got there, and I was a little early, and there was drumming going on. It was African drumming. And so there's also, or African drums, drumming of all kinds. It was like, I was standing there, and the rhythms were going, and I went, I found my people. And I was just so filled with optimism and hope and all those things. And now, how many years later, I guess 12 years, I think I've been with the choir and the drum group, because of course I drum too. And it's just like, these are my sisters. These are my sisters. And it's just, that is such an important circle to me. I have other circles as well, but I would say that is the one that, and during COVID, where you can't sing on the internet, right? Because everyone's at a different pace, so you can't sing together. However, our choir leader, Laura Thomas, she organized it so that we did Zoom meetings, and we actually learned one or two songs completely on Zoom, and then we recorded them each individually, and then sending Laura the MP3s or MP4s, and she did those little, you know, where all the people's faces
Yeah.
are, and it was like, but it kept that connection. And for some people, you know, in the worst days when we couldn't see anyone, some of our members lived alone,
Yes.
and it was like, even for me it was a lifeline, and for them I can only imagine even more. So
So Zoom really was a lifeline during COVID, that is for sure, because we used it for so many different things, you know, and I've run all of my board meetings on Zoom, and whereas before board meetings were in person, but it's actually been a really good thing to keep that going, because we get very high attendance at our board meetings via Zoom, more so than we would if we were in person. Yet we do get together in person as well. Like we were together, some of us were together last
yeah,
night.
yeah,
And,
yeah. So you've got your political group,
yeah.
and then I know that your family group is pretty strong, your circle
Yeah,
of
I've
family.
got a big family group. I've got a big extended family group, which also includes my stepson and my stepdaughter. When my stepson got married 2 years ago, we were at the wedding. My whole family was at the wedding. My sisters, their kids, everybody,
Yeah.
my kids. So I have that. I have friends that I see regularly. I have childhood friends still. I have a friend out in BC. We've been friends for 62 years. I have another friend that we've been friends for over 50 years that I get to see. Then you have friends you don't see as often. So that's kind of another circle as well.
So can I just jump in here too? I think there's a difference between friends and circles of friends, just to make a distinction, right? Because a circle
But
of
those are
friends.
other circles. So those people those childhood friends are a circle still.
Oh, so you have like more than one childhood
Yeah,
friend that you're in touch with? Okay, so that is that
yeah,
circle.
so
Okay,
there's
gotcha.
that circle, and then you have circles within circles, you know? But yeah,
Mhm,
no, these are all circles. Anything I'm talking about is a circle.
mhm.
I also belong to another charity organization that I'm on the board of. So that is another circle. It's kind of a tertiary circle, but again, it is another circle. We are connected through, we meet regularly, so I also do that. I have my knitting circle. I have two.
I was waiting.
I have my inner knitting circle, but then one of the weird things about knitters is knitters and crocheters, so makers, are connected in a strange way. And we call ourselves like a circle. So I also have women that I speak to about once a month through a YouTuber in Finland, where she connects us all. So now we have this circle that meets kind of once a month, and to the point where they're saying, "Oh, you're coming to England? Oh, well, come meet me for tea." You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So
yeah,
now that we've created this other circle,
yeah.
and then I have other circles because I'm actually going on a knitting cruise and right, like next year, and there will be, though, even though that's like an outer circle, like not a tight inner circle, it's still a circle of people
Yeah.
that I need to be with.
And I
Uh,
love how you're differentiating between like the inner circles
yeah.
and then the medium circles and then the wide circles,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the tertiary. So we can say primary, secondary, and tertiary circles as well. Of course, now we're creating a circle here with the Crones. This is our Crone circle. And you know, it's our hope that this circle will become bigger as well. I still feel like I need one more circle, so I'm not sure what I need to create. Is it a book circle? Like I'm an avid reader. I don't know if I said that in my intro, but I am a huge reader, or at least I used to be a huge reader. Could be a book club. I'm thinking about going back to in-person yoga classes because I've been doing them online, but I loved that connecting with the women for 12 years in person. You
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah,
had
for
a
sure.
circle going then.
Those classes really are a way of connection. For me, especially during pre and postnatal times, those classes were just incredibly important at the time because you were going through together. And then I actually, my other circle of sisters that I'm in touch with regularly is my writers group. And my writers group is called Sharks in the Basement. And there's a long story,
Oh, okay.
but we have been writing together and critiquing each other's work. We think it's 15 or 18 years. It's quite a long time.
Yeah.
And we were able to go from in person to Zoom during COVID. And it actually has been a blessing that we could and that we did that, because as we live more far flung from each other, it becomes really difficult to do that drive to wherever we are kind of meeting in the middle. And so this has been great. And we do retreats and again, within the group of 8, duos will go off or trios will go off, or we'll all meet for hiking, and like just different. That's an important circle. I'm fortunate that I don't have a close all the timeness with my school friends, because I moved so far away, and the internet wasn't what it was. Now, some of those friends I reconnected with through Facebook, and I've only managed to get a few of those friends back since Facebook deleted my account because of the hacking situation that,
When you
I
say
went
school
through.
friends, do you mean like public school or university or high school?
No, I mean like my public school, because I lived in the same place for 21 years, my first 21 years, my public school friends and my high school friends overlap quite a bit. I mean, some of them went all the way through, some of them were high school only. And then but university friends somehow didn't maintain, which is, and maybe it was because I lived at home, didn't live in residence, which I think gives you a different kind of connection. And
Absolutely.
then, I mean, I don't know, I'm still, yeah, no, so my university experience was very much theater, and I still have my theater circle, but of course we're all far flung. It's like the friends that when you get together, it's amazing. But as a group, the group very rarely, there's one Theater 2000 was a company I worked with in Ottawa, and we had a really great little Facebook community going. So I've got to get back into that one, right? So, and neighbors. I think neighbors are often, I've been very fortunate to have circles of neighbors where I've lived.
I haven't, which is really funny because I've lived in Markham for 50 years. But the part of the problem was with me was I didn't move to Markham until I was 17, so I was going into grade 13. How hard is that to make friends when you
really hard,
small
really
town
hard.
And the girls decided en masse that they were going to hate me. So I didn't make any girlfriends, but and I didn't really make any university friends because I got married when I was in university.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, so there you go. That's part
I
of
think
it.
that was part of it too. Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. And then as far as neighbors go, I had some neighbors that I was friendlier with, but I wouldn't say any of them, we didn't socialize with any of them, because when we moved on to the one street, my kids were young and everybody else was old. You know what I mean? And by the time I left that street, it was reversed. And where I live now, this community, this neighborhood rather, it's in Markham, but it's only 20 years old. And it seems to be almost, I want to say almost sort of transient. I'm friends with the people behind me, but she's also on my board of directors, as well. But she was my friend first, and then
your neighbor. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
No, she was my neighbor, my friend, and then on my board. So, and now we're friends. But she's the same age as my son, so her kids are little, but we are friends, and we socialize when we socialize politically, like for example that I'm having. I'm also thinking about taking up kickboxing. I want to get a medical clear for my doctor before I do that, because I am 67 and who knows what he
I think that would be really good for you.
Oh, yes. Oh yeah.
Not that you have any repressed rage.
I know. Do I? I do online kickboxing now sometimes with my online
Yeah.
coach. But I have for way before I started working with her 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. Well, almost it's getting close to 2 years now. I always had a hankering to do kickboxing, and there is a woman's kickboxing place not far from here. So after I
Oh,
see the doctor, I'm gonna see about that. I just want to know what the cost is. If the cost is prohibitive, I'm not going to do it. I'll just continue to do what I'm doing, and then maybe go back to
yeah.
yoga as well. But I absolutely, I have this thing about kickboxing, and going into the old lady Olympics and be a kickboxer. That would be fun.
Well, there you go.
But I have a feel, as busy as I am, I still have this feeling that I need one more kind of circle,
Well, I have a spiritual circle, and that was when I was when I was more active in the community, and also before COVID, when we were regularly doing psychic fairs and workshops and things like that, get-togethers. It was that was an important circle of people as well.
Yeah,
And so it's like, and I still have friends in that circle, but I don't feel it as a circle for me right now, and I miss that, so I would like that back, right? So but this what we hope to do with the Crones, and to create that circle, that you know group of women who can share all sorts of things, is I think it comes from both of us wanting to have more connection.
exactly. But and we both of us were involved in sort of a woman-oriented business for
Yep.
many years, and that was a wonderful circle. That was amazing,
Oh,
amazing experience.
that was the best thing about that company, was we'd go to conferences, and Leia and I would earn trips all the time, which is where we kind of got to know each other. And
Exactly.
those circles, oh my gosh, they were strong. And the women, you knew you could call on someone and they would have your back. And
But it
yeah,
still exists that way because you and I have connected, even though I
yeah,
haven't seen you physically, and I can't even remember the last time. My coach, or well, both of our workout coaches she's in Saskatoon, for heaven's sakes. But
yeah.
we're still connected, and we're still connected through social media and so on and so forth. So there is still kind of I wouldn't call it a circle anymore, but it's it is some kind of a
There is a
connection.
network. There's
There
definitely
is
a network,
a
right?
network. The thing that, and why we're kind of emphasizing this, and you may disagree with what I'm going to say, but the reality of it is that a lot of men don't put that much effort into social circles. They have their work circle and whatever. I found that with Bob. He had no close friends. He would, sometimes socialize with people from work, and then when he changed and became a professor, that group he never saw them again. So when he and I first got together, he had no friends, couple friends. So I was afraid that the day, and this is quite happens with men, which is often when they retire, why they have so much of a challenge in the retirement years is because they've lost their circle. Maybe they have golf buddies or some kind of a sports, but a lot of them don't. And that can be problematic. And that was the other thing I was really worried about. Well, this is before he got ill, was that, that we were going to end up having this just the two of us, you know what I mean? And no bigger circle out or diverse circles or whatever. And I felt very, very strongly that we had to make an effort to do that. And that is part of the life balance, because if your life shrinks down so small and then something happens to your partner, in my case, if I didn't have all these circles, what would I do? Like, I
Yeah,
wouldn't know what to
yeah.
do. That's what happened to my grandmother. Like, both my grandmothers, strangely enough, were widowed at my age. And the one grandmother never wanted to get married, and she didn't seem to care, and she was quite happy. The other grandmother, who had gobs of money, was completely lost. She didn't know what to do. So
Mm.
she spent years drinking too much, smoking too much, going between her house in Ottawa and her condo in Montreal. She would hire a taxi driver for the weekend. He would drive her around all weekend. She'd go into stores, buy incredibly expensive clothes that she had no place to wear. And she was bored out of her mind and depressed and aging rapidly. But then strangely enough, she ended up getting married again at the age of 70. And
God,
sold her house in Ottawa, sold her condo, moved to a trailer on the mountaintop in Putney, Vermont, which is another story, but anyway.
oh my goodness. Well, but you see, it's like, and that's the thing, right? As we are younger, it's some people find it way easier to make friends too when you're younger. And in some ways, I would say in I think because I'm not so worried about what people are going to think, and I'm who I am. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I would be a bit of a chameleon. I would be myself, but I would bring forward different colors or whatever to fit in with wherever I was. And I don't have time nor inclination to do that anymore. It's not that there's anything wrong with doing that. It was a great way of getting to know different people, but now it's sort of like, boom, this is me. And one of the interesting things in my life now is my husband is way more social than I am, and he is way better at socializing and having friends than I am in some ways. I mean, he has
And
friends from
some men
he's
are,
the
yeah.
he's sort of the exception to prove the rule, because I agree with you, in my experience, that's not always the case. But I also one of my brothers has they have a meeting every week, every Friday. Oh, it's time for the meeting, and it's they get together and I think they gossip. They're all in the same sort of community, and but maybe they're talking about important local news. I don't know, but it's a thing that it's like that. I think it's so wonderful when we create those things and we continue to do them, right? So
But I think with you, it's not so much as that you're not so tolerant of all these different things. It's just that you've honed in on the things that are meaningful to you, and you seek out the circles that bring meaning to your life and that support your belief systems and your
that's a
interests.
really, really good way of putting it, and much better than I was articulating it. And really good. It's truly, it's like I know where I want to have my energy. I know where my heart goes, right? And where, when you meet those people and your hearts just go, yes,
Yes.
I like, yeah.
Yeah. And there are people that you connect with, and there are people that you do not connect with, and it would be, and I'm sure at some point in time we'll explore why that is, that there are people that you have an instant connection with,
Mhm.
and where are people that you don't. And that's not necessarily about circles, but you can build circles there as well. So I really, kind of to summarize what we're saying, is that it's important as we get older, and inevitably and hopefully we do get older and we age well. We want to have this good balance between health, mental vitality, interests, and circles and
Yeah.
people and community. And it was also really interesting, and that I had made up my mind also when Bob passed away, that I was going to accept any social invitations that came my way,
Mm.
because if you don't, they'll stop inviting you. And it was really kind of funny or interesting. I read a book a couple of years ago. A woman, she was widowed, much, much older. She was in her 80s, but she was widowed. And she's a writer. She's actually a poet. She's an acclaimed American poet. I'll look for her book. But she said exactly the same thing. She said, you have to accept those invitations or people will stop inviting you. And there she's been able to now create other circles, even in her 80s, that are sustaining her and helping her as well. So very important. And I guess I think about this a lot, because a lot of my family members, not a lot of my families, but some of my family members are very isolated, and they've I don't know if they've chosen to be that way, but they have like no circles. They have like hardly any friends, hardly anybody they hang out with. And I feel bad about that. Maybe they're happy. I don't know. I couldn't be like that. I need to be part of circles. I need to be part of a people
I
group.
think some people need alone time and need solitude, but we do need human connection.
Hmm.
And I think part of what you're saying about what kind of old person do you want to be, right? Do you want to be, do you want to have circles of friends? Do you want to be active? Do you want to be healthy? Do you want all of these things? It's like, you can't go, oh, too late for me, too late to do that. No, like I just shared on our Facebook group a couple of days ago about this woman who took up running at, oh, how old was she when she started running?
870, yeah.
I think 67, 72, something like that. And now she's like winning seniors Olympics and breaking records. She's been running now for 30 years and she started in her 60s. So it's like, it's not too late ever to start doing something. You may not do it the way you would have done it if you'd started in your 20s, but
But it doesn't matter because now you have the time and the attention and the focus to be able to do it. I mean, we're distracted by many things in our 20s. We're trying to build a life. If we're married, we're trying to have a marriage. If we have children, we're raising children. And it's nothing is ever smooth. Things are complicated. There are things that you have to deal with. You're trying to do all of these different things, and you're busy, busy, busy all the time. It's now when we get into this elder part of our lives that we now actually have time. We have the luxury of time to be able to think about the things that bring us joy and the things that we want to focus our very, very precious time on. And you're absolutely right. It is never too late to start anything. I don't care what anybody says. And I get it's kind of a little bit fed up when people say, oh, well, stairs in your house and you can't lose weight, you can't do things. Nonsense. I did all that. I lost almost 30 pounds a year and a half ago, and you should see me run up the 4 flights of stairs in my house. So you can do those things, and sometimes people confuse what they believe to be true with and it's not true. So if nobody told you that you're too old to do something, then you wouldn't know you were too old to do something, right?
if you didn't know what year you were born, how old would you be? How old do you feel, right?
That
And
is
so
brilliant. Yes.
it's like for us, yes, but so no matter how old you are when you're watching this, look at where your circles are. Look at if you would like another circle. Of what kind of circle would you like it to be? Would you like it to be around a hobby? Would you like it to be around an activity? Would you like it to be around a spiritual thing? And then I and Leea, I'm sure, will encourage you, start creating your circle, because sometimes it's like, oh, well, the circle doesn't exist, or oh, that looks like a great group, but they look like they're full or they're closed. You know what? If something looks appealing to you, see if you could join in. And some you will be welcomed, and some it won't work out, but then you find other people and create your own. So circles
Exactly.
are important. That's the
Create your
bottom line.
Circles are important. Create your own. I created my knitting group. I had encouragement from friends, but I created the knitting group. Peggy and I have created this group. So yes, you can create the group that you want to be a part of. You just have to find one other person who wants to be a part of that.
And that's exactly my writers group. Yuta and I wanted to continue critiquing, and we invited some other people, and it has grown and morphed over the years, but it was 2 of us, and that was us creating one. And then like Women Chant, that group already existed and they welcomed me. And hey, if anyone lives in the Niagara region, we are always open for more members, and you don't need to read music. It is a non-audition choir. Hopefully you can carry a tune. There, that's my commercial. But
if you're in the Markham area and you want to be a crafter, then just let me know, because I can teach you how to knit. Somebody else in the group can teach you how to crochet if that's what you're more inclined to be doing. And truthfully, mostly it's just a social time. Like, I don't do my massive amount of knitting in the group, but I do have my private time.
It's important to have that
yes
point of connection, let's call it.
Exactly. We get together, we talk, we drink wine, we work on projects, and we have an absolutely fantastic time. So yeah, you're welcome to join the Vigilante Grannies Stitch and Bitch Maker Circle.
So find your circles, cherish your circles, and celebrate them. And I guess that's what we wanted to say about this. So thank you for watching.
Thank you indeed. And remember, please, if you like what you saw, please like it. It's really important for our algorithm if you'll do that. Please subscribe. Please click the little bell, that's a notification, and please tell your family and friends, and please give us comments. You know, we want to make sure that we're not in some kind of an echo chamber here. We want to hear what you really think and what you really feel, and what are the topics that you would like us to talk about that are important to you and will bring meaning to your life as well.
And I should say, if you're not in our Facebook group, Wise and Wicked Crones, please join. And that is where I posted the winner of the draw for the email tarot card reading of all the people who let me know they've subscribed, because somehow I haven't been able to figure out how to see that, if I even can, I don't know. So when you subscribe, just send us a note, let us know that you've subscribed as well, because I think there may be more draws, but the winner anyway when I drew is Nancy Roercy. So there, just so you know, we really did it.
All right, well, thank you everybody, and
Thanks.
look forward to hearing us the next time.
Thank you, and join our circle.
Thank you, Peggy.
Thanks, Leah. Bye. Mwah. Ciao, everybody.